you're now talking about people who are completely incompetent, who most American business owners wouldn't hire to run a taco stand, being put in charge of the FBI. America's government works. What problem are we trying to solve here? Go to any other country. You come back here, you're glad to be here because so much of what we put in place, our parents put in place, our grandparents put in place, works. You have to believe something that's not true, that somehow America is like falling apart and all these terrible people doing all these terrible things. What problem can you possibly solve by putting Kash Patel in charge of literally anything? This is a joke. This is an insult. And I think even Republican voters should be insulted and just say, America's government should be respected. It should be populated by people who respect America's government and who are basically competent. And Kash Patel fails that test and would fail that test for almost any job in America.
And yeah, you seem like you want to respond.
I agree with Van that the government should be respected, but let's go over the history of the FBI, shall we? The FBI investigated Dr. King, frivolous nonsense. The FBI even investigated the late singer Aretha Franklin. The FBI targeted and investigated members of BLM. The FBI, in my opinion, does not have a great record in history of necessarily serving all of the American people. So as far as I'm concerned, if you want to send someone in to sort of shake that place up, be a disruptor, I am actually not necessarily against that. I agree with Van in terms of wanting someone to lead the agency well, but the FBI does not have the greatest record in the world of representing and protecting all Americans. Maybe some Americans, but certainly not Americans who look like Van and I and you as well, Omar. So again, if you want to bring someone to challenge and get this place in order, then I would support that, even if it is Kash Patel.
And you think that's Kash Patel's
I would say,
agenda?
Brianna, I would say if Kash Patel is going to go in and shake that place up and say you guys have not necessarily done a fine job, again, I think you'd find a lot of Americans who would say, you know what, the FBI is not a perfect organization. Why not?
You're shaking your head, Van. What's up?
Let me tell you, I'm appalled to hear my brother saying this. Yes, the FBI has done some bad things. There's not a single bad thing the FBI has done that Kash Patel would represent a great advance over. And let's not forget, I mean, we're in bad shape when Van Jones, a liberal Democrat, is defending the FBI. But let's not forget, a lot have crime solved and not have drug cartels. The FBI solves where you and I get out of bed in the morning, and if you put a completely unqualified person in charge, you can't say you're for law and order. If you put a completely unqualified person in charge, you can't say you're for peaceful and safe streets when the people who are in charge of that are going to be incompetent. Kash Patel is incompetent. You would not hire Kash Patel to do anything in your company. And that at a certain point, yes, we want change, but change has to be done in a good way by responsible people, not in a bad way by incompetent people.
But you know what, Van is right. We do care about law and order, and it should be led by responsible people. But the quote-unquote responsible people haven't necessarily addressed some of the issues that I raised. I mean, investigating and illegally targeting and spying on activists that were part of BLM.
But that's not what we're talking.
Recent years
we're not
ago,
talking
Brianna.
About that, Shermichael.
No,
that's not the conversation we're even having.
But the point that I'm making.
It's like we're talking about something else, and you're literally going in a different direction.
No. It's very relevant. The relevancy here is if you're going to say that the FBI is led or should be led by these great responsible people, my critique is these very great and responsible people have had a whole lot of faults that a whole lot of people would say, I don't think they're great. I don't think they're very responsible. That's the critique that I'm providing here.
But Kash Patel would be more likely. Kash Patel would be more likely to investigate Black Lives Matter than anybody else. Kash Patel would be more likely to be an enemy of Dr. King than anybody else. Kash Patel is not some great civil rights champion. You're not talking about John Lewis. If you want to dig up John Lewis and put him in there, I'd be for it. But Kash Patel has no record on stuff you're talking about. You guys are just having to dig up excuses for stuff that's inexcusable. This dude should not be in charge of the FBI. And everybody else.
Can he be any worse
than Donald Trump trolling everybody and risking American safety?
But Van, can he be any worse than Christopher Wray to the critiques that the rebuttal you just made to my argument?
Yes, absolutely. You guys act like Christopher Wray is like Ronald McDonald. Like he's actually a serious guy. Kash Patel is not.
A serious guy who, again, also had his agents investigate activists that were members of BLM.
And so, look,
illegally.
We could go on with this for a while, especially when it comes to reform of the FBI. But I do also want to say there are many agents who are actually doing good work, assisting local and state law enforcement in many operations they've got going on. The question, though, is would this new era of leadership fix some of the very real issues that we've talked about? Shermichael Singleton, good to see you. Van Jones, you the same. Come in person next time. It'll be a little more livelier. Good to see you, man.
That was pretty lively, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right.